The Leeds Rhinos lost to St Helens here 2 weeks ago to dent their hopes of finishing in the top two. Now Warrington know that defeat for them is almost unthinkable. If they lose, they'll be the rank outsiders in the race, even for the top five. And let's confirm just how vital this game is. Leeds are a point behind St Helens, who are second. Warrington are 4 points adrift of fifth-placed Gateshead now. The Gateshead Thunder have had 2 great wins over the past week. Vital match for these two sides then. Let's take a look at the way the teams line up, and Leeds are just about at full strength. Yestin Harris at full-back. Sterling, Blackmore has returned alongside Godden in the centre. Cummins is on the wing. Powell and Sheridan at half-back. The forwards, McDermott, Newton and Fleary, Morley, Hay and Glanville. And on the bench, Masella, Farrell, Golden and Matthew. The coach is Graham Murray. No Lee Jackson, no Marcus St-Hilaire, no Leroy Rivette. But other than that, Leeds probably their first 17 on duty here. Now the opposition from Warrington, the Warrington Wolves. Lee Penny at fullback. What responsibility is on the shoulders of these backs? Forster, Roper, the game's leading try scorer, Coe Love and Alan Hunt. Scott Wilson and Lee Breers at halfback. Much will depend on those two. Chambers, Farrer and Nutley. Farrer returning after injury. Gillies the captain alongside Knott, and Wainwright the loose forward. And the substitutes for Warrington, McCurry, Hanger, Busby and Heighton. The coach is Darryl van de Velde. Well, Ronnie the Rhino is here and all dressed up by the looks of things in his Sergeant Pepper's suit. It's a big night for Ronnie the Rhino as well, in his yellow submarine, according to the music. Now then, this is the scene inside the Leeds dressing room. That defeat by St Helens means that they know that they need the win to continue their quest for a top 2 finish and the home route to Old Trafford. But have the Wolves got the players to stand up to the Rhinos and repeat that St Helens win? Simon Gillies, the Australian, leading Warrington out. They're in 7th place at the moment, 14 victories. And there's the game's leading try scorer, Toa Coe Love, 23 tries in Super League. He is, needless to say, Warrington's top scorer, of course, and they'll be delighted to have Danny Farrer back, and he's approaching 700 tackles personally in Super League this year. Gillies leads them out. This, they know, is their moment of truth. Darryl van de Velde has been plugging it all week in training, and indeed with phone calls to the players personally at night, that this is the night that Warrington really do have to stand up and be counted. Well, Leeds won at Wilderspool in May, 28 points to 10, and it's a big night for Yestin Harris, their captain, who is leading them onto the field. Big night too for Adrian Morley. Last time we saw him, he lasted just 2 minutes against the Saints. Francis Cummins, 17 tries, and Anthony Farrell is their top tackler, 471 personal tackles from Farrell. And out comes Yestin Harris alongside the mascot George Baker, lad who plays for Oulton Rangers under-9s. It's his birthday today. It's a big night for him. He is the Leeds Rhinos mascot. And alongside Yestin Harris, who, for these people on the South Stand, rewrote the record books again last week. A try and 3 goals against Wakefield gave Yestin Harris a new Super League points in a season record, 261 now, compared with the legendary Welshman Lewis Jones in recent weeks. Jones led Leeds to their first ever title in 1961. Coincidentally, it was against Warrington. The big question now in Super League, can Harris emulate him on October the 9th and give Leeds their first title in 27 years? Stuart Cummins is tonight's match official. Leeds will attack from right to left. Warrington in their changed jersey of all black. Yestin Harris gets us underway. First touch of the football almost for Wilson and then for Nutley, and picked up fortunately by Ian Knott.
Difficult bounce there, and Wilson did well, just got the touch, and Knott came to the rescue. Well, nerves are plenty in the opening seconds. Big question mark on this Warrington pack. They really have to match it with the lead 6. Can they do it? They knew that St Helens outmuscled them. Can Warrington do exactly the same?
The ball stands up nicely for Harris against his former club. He'll take the first tackle, and that was a big reception for Iestyn Harris. They know the danger that he poses, obviously. Francis Cummins now. 3 tries from Cummins at Wilderspool in May. Glanville to drive it in for the Leeds Rhinos. Of course, they made it to the grand final last year. They're looking to go one better in 1999. Fleary back in the side. He was missing against Saints. Graham Murray watching on. The Leeds coach. McDermott to charge it down at the middle. Good run from McDermott. Quick play, the ball is what's needed. Newton, this is the last. Sheridan tried to get the kick in. Farah got the charge down. That's 6 to go, and Harris has it again for Leeds.
Well, it was good work to charge it down, put a lot of pressure under there. And the hooker Farah, who's done a lot of work in defence. That's the reason why Daniel van der Velde has brought him back into the first team squad. He wanted to strengthen up the forward pack. He'll do that, and they'll have to tackle for their lives now.
Under great pressure here, the Warrington defence. Powell up the middle, sidesteps one, couldn't get away from Penny. Good tackle from Penny, the Warrington fullback it had to be. Newton to Sheridan, and it's Penny again who comes to the Warrington rescue. 2 metres from the line.
Wonderful tackle there from Penny, it had to be.
Powell slides it through, Penny again picks it up. He can't get out of the in-goal area though, but Lee Penny on 3 occasions there, coming to the rescue of the Warrington Wolves.
Unbelievable position there by the Warrington fullback. 2 wonderful try-saving tackles previous to that. But Penny read it well. Sheridan went through a huge gap. The fullback got to him. The kick went through and Hill came up with it. But that man, Lee Penny. What a start to this game, Eddie.
Well, Leeds are rampant here because Warrington haven't had the football yet. This is Andy Hay. And
oh, that's a high one. Gillies did not miss.
And the referee spotted it.
Well, Andy Hay would have felt that. The right arm right into the jaw of the big second rower, Andy Hay. Simon Gillies, he knows how to play rough and tough. He's a hard man. He leads by example. That's the reason why he's a skipper out there.
Harris spurning the opportunity of going for 2 to put yet more pressure on Warrington, but I noticed that Ryan Sheridan is limping slightly. There was obviously a really heavy challenge on him by Lee Penny that saved the try, and Sheridan is carrying a bit of a knock at the moment.
Well, Penny turned him in the tackle. We've lost the football at the moment. We'll finally get one to get this game underway. Warrington won't be concerned about that. It gives them a chance to get their one line of defence sorted out.
Well, it's been all Leeds so far, and here's McDermott again on the charge. He stands in the tackle, gets it away. That's a knock-on, though. And the referee will now put the scrum down. And after 3 minutes and 40 seconds, it was a good tackle by Ian Knott. Well, Warrington will now get hold of the football.
Well, really, the prop forward, Barry McDermott, should not have offloaded there in heavy traffic. Daniel van der Velde, he'll be a relieved man. He knows that his side has been put under tremendous pressure. This is the first time that the Wolves have had possession of the football.
And what can they do with it? Here's Mike Wainwright. Good tackling by Richie Blackmore, and Graham Murray delighted to see Blackmore back in the side. Only his 2nd appearance in Super League this. Played last week, 2 tries, created a couple of others, got the Man of the Match award. Here's Wilson now, gets the ball away to Gillies once again. Gillies gets to his feet, plays it to Farah, back it goes to Breers. Breers eludes the challenge from Morley. The kick downfield, and Sterling just flicked at that. It went backwards, so he's allowed to pick it up and play on. But he's got to get away from Coe Love, which he has. And here goes Sterling. Got away also from Ian Knott. Penny again, and Penny once more to dump him to the ground.
Beautiful play, though, by Paul Sterling. He'd be the senior member out there alongside Darryl Powell, but he showed plenty of pace.
Great run from Sterling. In the side at the moment, on merit, even though Rivette is injured. McDermott with a wonderful charge downfield again. Warrington are stretched. They will go the short way with Sheridan on to Blackmore. Blackmore gets away from Roper, tosses the ball back inside to Sheridan. On it goes to Fleary. Fleary stands in the tackle, such upper body strength in this man. And it's taking 4 to get him to the ground. Now he goes. Newton, Powell, misses out Morley, finds Harris. Harris to try and jink inside Breers. Releases the ball and gives it to Powell. Powell coming backwards, flicks the ball into the corner looking for Cummins. Hunt is there. Hunt clears up the danger, takes the tackle from Cummins. Warrington are under the cosh.
Not a bad option there by Darryl Powell, a standoff, neat chip into it, but full credit there to Alan Hunt. He read it well, good positional play. Oh, swinging arm, he ducked underneath it there. Dearie me. Gary Chambers nearly had his head taken off. He just ducked at the last moment.
Nutley hangs on to the football, plays it to Farah. This is Knott, and Knott is grounded, and an interested spectator is Ellery Hanley, the St Helens coach, who is here tonight to receive his Millennium jersey to celebrate the Leeds greats into the new century. The kick downfield from Breers, he was looking for a 40-20, but it only found Sterling, and Sterling picked up another heavy challenge from Ian Knott.
Definitely over the top, and referee Stuart Cummins has just given him a running caution. Tell him to keep his arms down.
Mark Glanville now.
Leeds knew that they were going to be in for a tough opening 10 minutes, but it hasn't worked out that way because they've had all the possession, they've had all the chances. Warrington are really scrambling back. You've got to admire the way that they've got back in defence.
But how long can they hold out with pressure like this coming at them? Blackmore allowed the ball to bounce, flicked it then into the arms of Sterling. He keeps the ball alive. Oh, almost a pinch. Now it is. Forster has it. Well, that was a little bit too over-elaborate by Leeds, and Mark Forster has it back for Warrington.
Well, that was panic football by Leeds when they really didn't need it. Good offload, though.
Chambers found Farah. Good tackle by Fleary.
Well, this is suicidal, trying to keep the ball alive there.
Wilson was nearly away. As it is, this is Wainwright. Good tackling.
Now then, what will Lee Breers come up with now? First opportunity.
This is Nutley. Oh, big hit by Fleary. McDermott was there as well. These two prop forwards for Leeds. The Hunters a pair. Good kick through by Breers, but in the end it stood up for Harris, and Harris gets away from 3, gets away from 4, passes it to Cummins. Great play from the Leeds captain.
So much style and skill. Great balance. That's got to be a penalty. Interference, offside. He could have selected one of the two from Stuart Cummins.
He's given them offside.
Wainwright interfering with the winger Francis Cummins.
3 water carriers arrive on the field for Leeds. 1 sent out by Darryl van der Velde for Warrington. 0-0 here at Headingley. McDermott with a charge at Coe Love. Breers in there to help and claw him down.
Well, the big forwards getting over the advantage line, but they're still having troubles finishing it off, and I think they're just panicking a little bit, Leeds, trying to keep this ball alive in impossible situations.
Darryl Powell gave it to Hay on a short angled run.
Boy's lost it.
He has, and it's a knock-on against Andy Hay. No interference ruled by Stuart Cummins.
Trying to get on it and just flicked it away, even though Danny Farah certainly had a hand on it. Graham Murray doesn't seem too concerned. Fills himself up with a glass of water. Well, it's been all the Rhinos so far, and I'm sure that the Wolves will breathe a huge sigh of relief, Eddie, for this.
Yes, 65% of the time. 9 minutes has it been in Leeds possession. Now it's with Roper. He gets a good ball away to Forster. Still evergreen is Mark Forster out there. Still has plenty of appetite. Good ball from Wilson. Here's Forster. Forster for the corner. And it's first blood Warrington. After all that pressure from Leeds, Mark Forster with all the pace. And a beautiful pass that set him free. Darryl van der Velde's men strike first. They soaked up the pressure from Leeds, and then Forster quickly through and in for the opening try.
Second wave of attack on the blind side. Good work by Wilson. That really was good work indeed. Roper set him Wilson away, and then the old stager, Forster, knowing the world that Powell could get to him. Tremendous work there. Look at the centre. Roper set him off. Wilson back on the inside. Good positioning by Forster. This guy just keeps going on and on and on. Look at the determination. Only the second opportunity they've had the possession. They've come up trumps with a 4-pointer.
Mark Forster, 34 years of age, just one try against Sheffield at Don Valley 2 weeks ago in the last 2 months prior to that moment. And the Warrington contingent have got smiles on their faces at the moment. Mark Forster, who won a couple of caps for his country a long time ago in 1987, that he still has an absolute bundle of enthusiasm for this game. Now then, Lee Briers with the conversion attempt. 8 goals against Hull last week. His best kicking performance. This to give Warrington a 6-point lead. Penny's kicking well. Briers is kicking well. Penny's big in defence, and Warrington leads 6-0.
See how they got caught on the blind side. They expected it to come out wide. Roper did so well. But Wilson, the offload. What positional play. That is experience from Mark Forster. The crisscross, he came off the wing, made sure he was there for support. Offload by Scott Wilson. No smile from Daniel van der Velde, but I'm sure that he's pleased. He must be somewhat concerned with all the possession and the Rhinos still yet to score. He knows that they've been caught on that blind side.
Well, Mark Forster at 34, and his opposite number, Paul Sterling, is 35, so 2 real campaigners of this game over on that far side. And at the moment, Forster with a little points advantage. Here's Chambers, big Cumbrian prop forward, gets to his feet, plays it to Farah. He finds Briers, and Briers sets off on a lovely run, finds Danny Nutley. Nutley has support from Wilson. They've got a ton of support out wide here. This is for Hunt to chase. Cummins is quick. Cummins gets to it. Oh, and Cummins does so well. Hunt went over the top of him, the tackle not completed, and Cummins makes 12 priceless metres.
But did he ground the ball? He grounds the ball. Well, that's unbelievable that they've got away with that. Harris makes the break. Oh, swinging out from Wilson. This is getting tasty. But I thought that Francis Cummins grounded that football. The elbow certainly touched terra firma.
This is Hay, a lovely ball back on the inside to Powell. Lee's looking to respond immediately. And Warrington flying in on the tackle. Blackmore's the dummy half. This is Glanville. Glanville on to Adrian Morley. Morley looks forgotten and only finds Alan Hunt.
Again, panic football. All the approach work, superb. It was a stupid pass from Adrian Morley. Well, it will not be pleasing their coach, Graham Murray. It was a good run from the fullback, Easton Harris. But Lady Luck certainly shone on the Leeds outfit on that occasion. For my mind, Eddie, Cummins definitely grounded that football. If the ball carrying arm hits the deck, then it's dead in goal.
Briers with the kick downfield. Harris collects it 30 metres from his own line, gives it immediately to Sterling. And Briers, following his own kick up, gets the tackle in.
Well, this is the situation now. That is grounded, and so is that. You scored a try that way. It is no different from grounding the ball in your in-goal area.
Briers just penalised for this illegal challenge. Legs all round at Paul Sterling as he tried to get back to his feet. Penalty to Leeds.
Got him in a wrestling hold there. Well, they've had it all their way, but look at the scoreline. They've yet to get on the scoreboard.
They might now. This is Fleary. Good tackling, though, by this Warrington defence. Farah leading the way. Here's Powell. Powell looking for the runner. It's Glanville! And Glanville scores for Leeds. The Rhinos respond. Big hole opened up in that Warrington defence. It was a great ball from Powell, and Glanville was the first to appreciate it. Glanville with the try then, set up by Powell's pinpoint pass.
Superb link out wide. Powell, they thought he was going to the first man. And the loose forward, Mark Glanville. Watch for the dummy runner coming through. There he goes on the inside. He came out wide. Adrian Morley acted as a foil. And the Australian loose forward, Glanville, takes it with glee. You can see Lee Briers, he went for the intercept. An open run for the loose forward. The Rhinos are on the board at last.
Mark Glanville made his Super League debut against Warrington here last year. He's winding down a great career. Grand final win for Newcastle in Australia in '97. Grand final defeat for Leeds in '98. And one or two problems for Darrell van der Velde now. He knows his team have been under the cosh. He is a former Warrington player with 102 goals to his credit this year. Iestyn Harris taking aim to put Leeds level. The South Stand packed behind him. And Harris strikes it cleanly. It's 6 points all at Headingley.
The defence thought that Morley, the man circle, was going to get the football across the face of his chest. Bang! See how Frears went for the dummy and left a huge gap for Glanville to take advantage. Beautiful pass from Darrell Powell. That surely will please Graham Murray, though he is somewhat concerned.
Well, that's more like it, Graham Murray will be saying. And a man there, Mark Glanville, looking to go out on the highest possible note with a victory at Old Trafford on October the 9th in the grand final in this part of the world.
Well, he's not noted throughout his career of scoring tries.
Oh, there's a mistake.
That's a real big mistake from the man who just dropped the 4-pointer. He said sorry.
Well, I think he was expecting Andy Hay to get this, and in the end it went between the two of them.
Either way, someone should have called. Neither did. And I think you saw Mark Glanville just say to his fellow players, sorry about that one. Well, a golden opportunity here. Oh, it's not the best dropout.
And McCurry just on, that's a knock on. McCurry, first touch for Steve McCurry, and he comes up with a huge blunder just on the field.
Well, I said it wasn't a good kick-off. He should have had enough experience. He's been around long enough, Steve McCurry. No one around him to apply the pressure. Should have used the boot. Just trap it soccer style. And he knows it too. Well, you've got to take your chances, and you've also got to make sure that when Leeds come up with a mistake, you haven't got to give them the football back.
And that's exactly what they've done. McCurry only just on the field. Harris, they're all round him like wasps. And talking of wasps, we have one up here in the gantry. And Steve-O, as you know, is very allergic to wasp stings.
You don't have to smile.
Sheridan finds McDermott, almost away from McCurry, but this time the door is slammed shut. Four of them hold him. Newton, Powell, misses out Godden, finds Morley, shrugs off the would-be challenge from Coelho. Bria's got to him though. Morley not too impressed with that challenge. This is Godden. Godden thinking about offloading, and it was on the last tackle when they went for the power play and didn't come up trumps.
Oh, that was a real schmozzle there, and they were looking to get away with it, Warrington. They really weren't looking. Danny Farrow was really surprised. Good work by the second rower, Adrian Morley, though.
Good work in defence, this from Leeds. McCurry makes 10 priceless metres. Nat charge. Here's Wilson. On it goes then to Busby.
So important, the combination between Scott Wilson and Lee Briers. But of course, they've got to make sure that the forwards give them the platform. And the way that these Leeds forwards are playing, they really are getting over that advantage line with ease.
A great defensive stint by Leeds, that was. Wilson with a high kick into the arms of Harris. Now it's with Sterling. He goes round McCurry and away from Nutley. Sterling. Oh, what a try this is going to be! Paul Sterling, sensational. Picked up the kick downfield from Scott Wilson, left the entire Warrington side for dead. Jigged one way, came back the other, through the would-be tacklers. Wonderful, wonderful try from Paul Sterling. That's his 8th try in the last 11 matches, ever present in Super League. Paul Sterling, a special.
Super skilled, the kick is only as good as the chase. It was a high one from Scott Wilson. The fullback Harris launches us, go for a run, and then they hang about. They went far too high. It was a feeble attempt. In and out. 3 would-be attempts to put him down. And the old stager will enjoy this one. Bang, straight over. You little beauty. But you have to point the finger at the chasers. It was poor. And when they had the opportunity, the defence fell apart. But let's take nothing away from Paul Sterling's effort.
Harris has kicked the extras. Leeds 6-0 down, now lead by 12 points to 6. 2 tries in 6 minutes for the Rhinos.
Scintillating pace, in and out, no chance for Lee Penny. Penny's come up with 4 wonderful tackles previous to this. But this fella Sterling, he has a habit of making a point to the coach, Graham Murray. He's been in and out of the team, and he knows it as that fella, the coach, gives him the opportunity, and when you come up with a try like that, it leaves a pretty sad face on the opposition coach.
Well, Paul Sterling, who you may remember if you were with us for the World Club Championship in 1997, scored a wonderful try on this ground against the Adelaide Rams. Oh, there's a mistake though from Morley. It's gifted the ball back to Love of Warrington.
Well, that's the second occasion that Leeds are just falling off. The lack of concentration after they scored a try. Remember, Glanville scored, then Glanville came up with a mistake, and now we see them do it yet again.
Nutley goes to ground underneath Fleary and McDermott. There's Farah. The referee gives the forward pass decision against Danny Farah.
Just a little bit too late. He hung on to it just a fraction. And you could see he just had to lean forward onto the football.
And he was just about level with the line, wasn't he? The 10-metre line as well. That gave him away.
It's always a risk, though, Eddie, the way that they play this real flat ball at the last moment. It produced a try for Glanville. It was a beautiful flat pass from Powell, the man in possession now. It is a 50-50 gamble. Some referees pick it. Ooh, a big one from Simon Gillies.
Here's Morley charging onto the football. Good tackling.
They really are winding up these forwards from the Leeds pack.
Newton gets the pass away to Powell. He switches the direction of the attack to Sheridan. Scrambling defence there from Busby and Farrer again. Here's Harris. Harris won't. Oh, that could have been obstruction and is.
He used the hooker, Newton, and Newton knew as soon as he made contact that Harris went behind him. There, that's the contact, that's the obstruction. There was no chance they could get to him. Well spotted by the referee, Stuart Cummings.
Terry Newton is a man who almost joined Warrington prior to getting hit here at Leeds. He was wanted, and Leeds nipped him and snatched him from underneath Warrington's noses at the time.
To be fair, he's been a good servant to the Rhinos, and of course Leeds, they normally rotate him with Lee Jackson, who unfortunately is still out with a bad injury, and I think Leeds really have missed his guile from dummy half.
Jackson is earmarked for a comeback in the under-21s at Warrington tomorrow. Meanwhile, that's Steve McCurry. He gets Warrington to within 3 metres. Here's Busby. That's a great tackle, though, by Andy Hay. Underneath his own sticks. Farah trying to pinch one from dummy half. Just hauled back. Busby again. Busby into the arms of Breers, and Breers just delaying it, now stabbing the kick through. Roper's after it. Blackmore taking no chances.
Good option, but well read there by the Kiwi international. Raises the eyebrows. This really is a tremendous kick from Lee Breers. He's in fine form. Richie Blackmore got a big job to do tonight. Super League's leading try scorer, Toa Koe-Love, is opposite him. Leeds coach Graham Murray was so pleased that Richie Blackmore were back to fitness.
So Breers having a conversation rather with Stuart Cummings about something or other. Meanwhile, Iestyn Harris is looking again and maybe trying to pinpoint Steve McCurry once more. Wilson this time underneath it, not the best pass. Penny had to pick it up off his bootlaces. So that's the first, this set of 6 for Warrington. Here goes Busby.
Good work there, running onto the football, quick play of the ball. That is what's needed.
Farah misses out Nutley and finds Breers. Breers looks up for this.
He was looking for the dummy runner there, but no one appeared.
Here's McCurry again. Big man trying to go round Newton. He gets Warrington to within 5 metres. Farah's at dummy half. Came this way to Breers, and Breers goes through, and Breers just hauled down. Half a metre short. Farah lost it. The ball was knocked down.
Offside. Leeds had not gone back the 10, so it'll be a penalty to the Warrington Wolves at the play of the ball. Well, it was a great tackle by Andy Hay. It had to be as well. Breers went so close.
Lee Breers is going to kick for goal. The ball was knocked down by a Leeds Rhino, and there was someone stood in front. There's the knockdown. Well, Powell came from behind the ball, didn't he?
Yeah, but he's got to go back behind the line. You've got to make sure that you've got to... It was Godden that was offside as well. Cummings had made a move also. Quite a few did Stuart Cummings to select from. But the Australian centre, Brad Godden, was the one that caught his eye, much to the relief of the Wolves. I'm not so sure that there's the incident. Godden, if Godden had have gone over the line, he would have been okay. When you're within the space of less than the 10 metres, you must go over the whitewash. He failed to do that. Well spotted by the official. He'll be pleased.
But he will if Lee Breers kicks this.
I'm not so sure that that's the best option. They have not had much possession, but Breers are confident that if he does miss it, it will finish up in the crowd, so they'll get the ball back from the dropout.
Of course, if he scores, Warrington will restart. Leeds will get it back. Anyway, let's see what Lee Breers can do with it. He's drifted it over the crossbar. Lee Breers has kicked another 2 points. It's 12-8. Warrington anxious to hang on to the shirt tails of the Leeds Rhinos in the opening half hour here, and they've done that.
Well, it was a great run from the little halfback, Breers. Couldn't get to him for the first time. Morley just ankle tapped him, and then Hay came and grabbed him just at the last moment. And Adrian Morley involved yet again. He's working overtime.
Let's go, fellas, stay behind.
You know, I went back to last season then. I said if Breers kicks this goal, Warrington will give them the possession. But of course, in 1999,
they get it back from
the kickoff. Just a little aberration there on part of yours truly.
Apologies accepted, Eduardo.
Okay, all right.
Oh, big hit there.
He felt that, Nutley.
Morley really is pulling himself about.
And so is Penny. Farah gets it away to Busby. Good to see Dean Busby. This is his 22nd consecutive appearance, Busby, by the way. It's a rare consecutive run in the team for a man who's had so many injury problems during his career. Breers went out wide and found Gillies. Well, the touch judge on the far side heard the great scream from the south stand, and Breers thinks he's been hard done by.
So do I. I think the high shot proved that it was all right. What's wrong with that?
Particularly as Breers ran in front of the football, so the momentum rule.
Oh well, as we say, 50-50, the flat pass can be picked up by the officials.
Harris to Godden. Godden tackled by Coelho. Cummings dummy half. Glanville.
This is a vital 6 now for Warrington. They really have got to try to repel what Leeds are throwing at them. The big forwards, as I say, have been working overtime.
Great tackle.
Busby's all over him. He could have been penalised.
He could have been. It was a great tackle on him, Jamie Matthew, originally by Dean Busby. And the ball has come clear in that tackle, and Fleary adjudged to have knocked on.
This really was a good tackle. They turned him over onto his back. Loose forward Michael Wainwright. The prop forward Danny Nutley.
Well, Warrington against St Helens next Sunday evening, August the 15th at 6:30, Sky Sports 1. That, no doubt, is why Ellery Hanley, as well as collecting his commemorative Millennium jersey as one of the Leeds greats of this past century, is no doubt staying on here to watch this Warrington side, because that is a big match for Warrington and Saints, particularly Warrington if they manage to glean anything from this visit to Headingley. But they must win. I think there's no doubt about that, and certainly no doubt about that in the Warrington camp. They've got to win here. They're desperate for the victory. Wilson, nice run, but just lost his footing. That's the fifth and last, calls Stuart Cummins. Wainwright to Breers, on it goes to Gillies. Gillies with the kick, but Harris had positioned himself so well. He reads the situation, doesn't he? Brilliantly.
Well, it wasn't the best kick from Gillies, not noted for his kicking game, and it was right down the throat of the fullback Justin Harris. That will be not pleasing the coach Daryl van der Velde.
Good run from Godden.
You have to apply the pressure, and that was just a nothing kick in the end.
Nowhere for Harris to go. Leeds then were bunching around the captain. Newton, here's Morley, charged on the football, but good defence from Warrington.
Well, they're moving hard from the first and second markers, and you can see there early in this match that Leeds were easily getting over the advantage. It's not that simple now.
Big hoof downfield was from Darryl Powell.
A little bit too strong.
Alan Hunt is just allowing it to run dead, and he does. Bit of a breeze actually blowing behind the Leeds backs in this first half.
Well, the experienced Powell realised that far too much weight behind that. Shakes his head. Two already within this game, and Warrington not too eager to get on with this match. Not surprisingly, they still trail by those 4 points. But I must say, when Daryl van der Velde brought on Steve McCurry, they've looked a better unit in the forwards of Warrington. It's such a difficult man to put down, isn't he?
Here he is in possession now. Newton got to him then. A lot of people, Steve, are wondering why McCurry isn't in from the start, but he does make an impact, doesn't he, when he comes on? There's Alan Hunt, he's just done exactly that. Goes round Harris. Where's the support for Hunt? Coey Love's on his inside, and Hunt didn't see him.
Well, he did brilliant there, did the winger. He looked to be tripping all the way through for the 15 or 20 yards. Neat pass by Wilson back on the inside.
Found Gillies. Gillies takes the tackle. Wilson is down and injured. Here is Breers. He'll stab it to the corner again. Oh! And nearly a meal of it made by two Leeds defenders. Sterling was one.
Well, Harris was coming across. You get it, I get it. And then Harris said, I better get it. Well, this was a run from the winger Alan Hunt, and he was sort of just tripping over himself. He never really got into full speed. Good job that Brad Godden came back. Good ball and all tackle.
Another dropout then from underneath the sticks by Leeds and their captain Justin Harris. Another one all along the deck, and this time Alan Hunt takes control of the situation again, and he'll run it back. Goes away from Fleary, tries to get away from Hay. Good tackling by Hay. Powell in there as well, just to slow the Warrington progress. Busby hands it on to Gillies again. He's taking on Harris. Well, it's levelled up now. Warrington have come back into this. Farah.
Blackmore wasn't going to take the dummy. And neither was Mathey.
He's got some great names. Jamie Matthew. Mathey isn't one of them. But McCurry has it now.
You have your own team. I struggle.
Penny's at dummy half.
Oh, swinging arm there, and he's got him to lose forward.
Yes,
Glanville.
Referee Stuart Cummins was just 10 metres away from this.
Cheap shot. Even though he didn't get a real good hit on it, you can see the intention was there. Well, that's silly play by the experienced Glanville, when all you want to do is make sure that they don't cross your line. This surely will be a gift 2 points for Lee Breers.
Yes, he'll continue if he can to chip away at this Leeds lead. And Murray, the Leeds boss.
He must be concerned a little bit, Eddie, with the amount of mistakes that they've come up with.
I'm sure he is. 1999 Challenge Cup winner, now looking to emulate Sean McRae as only the second coach to be a double winner in the Super League era. 6 handling errors by Leeds and 4 by Warrington. And the Warrington performance in the opening 35 minutes here, having soaked up all the pressure like a sponge, has calmed the crowd a little, Steve-O.
Certainly has, and full credit to them. They've had to dig deep. Their scrambling defence, especially in the first 10 minutes, was really put to the test. And they came up trumps, scored the first try.
Breers 2 from 2. This to make it 3 from 3 and get his team back to within a couple of points. Oh, he's drifting it over nicely tonight. Lee Breers successful again with the right boot. It's 12-10. Leeds Rhinos, but only just. And Darrell van der Velde's Warrington will get the ball back from the kickoff.
Got it right this time. And you can see the Leeds fans trying desperately to get the Rhinos back into things.
I think they're the Warrington fans.
There was a couple of Leeds ones in there as well.
There's the Leeds fans.
Yes, there's the Leeds ones. Now they're not cheering.
And there's the Leeds coach, Steve-O.
Oh, we got him right. I think he'll have plenty to say as well when the hooter goes at half-time.
Okay. 4 minutes to the interval then, and Harris to restart.
4 minutes.
Wilson's underneath it, got a knock earlier, seems to have recovered. This is Nutley on the charge. Farah gets it away to Penny again. The Leeds certainly know they've been in a match. Good charging run again from Busby, who looks full of it. Again, and looks full of himself.
Again, quick play the balls, and you can see they're catching the first and second markers, who are very slow at the moment from Leeds.
Wainwright now is the dummy half. Farah plays it to him. Here's Breers. The kicking game so important from Breers tonight. And that will, I don't think, run dead, and it doesn't. Breers is the man following up. It's a good kick and chase. Oh, and Gillies could be penalised for that. No, Harris milked it, says referee Stuart Cummins.
Did he ever? He threw himself as though he'd been hit by lightning. Didn't con the referee, Cummins. Good decision. There you see it. Didn't see the lightning.
Didn't see the thunder or hear it.
You will on Sunday.
We will. We're at Odsal on Sunday for Bradford Bulls against the Gateshead Thunder. It's almost seamless, this, Steve-O. It could have been rehearsed. Big kick downfield from Terry Newton. Took a nasty little skip. It's a great kick, that. And Alan Hunt, 20 metres from his own line. Good chase, led by Godden and Francis Cummins. Hunt gets groggily to his feet, was hurt in that. Here's Coe Love, been quiet, Toa Coe Love, considering he's got 23 tries this season and is the Super League's top scorer. Hasn't really had any opportunities as yet. Nutley again carries the battle forward for Warrington in the forwards. New 2-year deal signed earlier this year by Danny Nutley will be an important cog as Warrington build for the future.
Now will the Wolves utilise the bomb? No, he's going to go for position.
Oh, and it's not found touch yet. Now it has. Good kick from Lee Breers, just winding the clock down. They'll be happy to be within 2 at the half-time break.
Controlling things out there, Lee Breers. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, as Eddie's just mentioned, the clock ticking away.
So this is an important last minute of this first half for Warrington now. They've got to be big in defence because there's plenty of time for Leeds to get through the set of 6.
Now will Leeds come up with a set move and kick and chase.
Sheridan gives it to Godden, Breers, and then McCurry. Get the tackle in. Powell is dummy half. Here's Morley.
Some of the Leeds players are getting frustrated. They feel that they are being held down at the play of the ball.
Glanville and Breers again. Breers has had a good half. Sheridan, on it goes to Powell. Misses out Hay and bounces in front of Harris. Oh, and if John Roper would have taken that in, and he knows that was a golden opportunity. Well, it has just gone begging.
First, he'll take the first knock on. It doesn't have to hit the ground. Even the fact that it went into Roper's hands, it's still classified as a knock on by the Leeds player, Justin Harris. Will they have enough time? Now then, surely when they get this football, it'll be a kick and chase from Warrington.
Well, Leeds are in no hurry. They don't want particularly to have to defend this.
Kick to the corner, surely.
It's with Penny. Penny takes the tackle, 4 seconds left, 3 seconds left. Now then, this is the last hurrah in this first half. Chip over the top from Breers, right down the throat of Francis Cummins. Toa Koilov gets to him. There's the half-time siren. Leeds ahead by 12 points to 10. Warrington wanted to be within touching distance at half-time, and Warrington are within touching distance at half-time. Even though it's 2 tries to 1 in the Rhinos' favour. Roper